So over the past couple of years, a ton of carbon-plated marathon racing shoes have come out, and I've been fortunate enough to test out a lot of these shoes. However, I haven't had that big marathon race to actually put them to a true life test. Fortunately, this year I do have the Boston Marathon that I'll be racing, but the hard part is, which shoe do I pick? So let's start by looking at some of my preferences when looking at a marathon racer. So the first thing I look at is the shoe has to be decently stable. This is because when I'm at the end of a marathon, I just want something that's a little more stable. Secondly, I definitely want something with a lot of cushion. 26.2 miles is not a short distance, and the more cushion under my feet, the better in my opinion. Third, I want this cushion to be soft and bouncy. Some people might like a shoe that's a little firmer, a little more responsive, but for me, I kind of like that plush, trampoline-y type feel. And fourth, I want a plate or something that's going to help really give you a nice pop off the toe, especially since I do like some of those more spongy foams. They typically require a plate to really balance out the ride and give you that nice pop. Alright, so let's start by taking a look at some of the shoes that I don't think I'm going to pick for the Boston Marathon. So let's start with the Artist from Atreyu. So this shoe actually does check off a lot of my boxes. It has a pretty stable base, it has a good amount of cushion, it's pretty soft and bouncy, but unfortunately the upper just really kills it for me. I have had a ton of issues with this heel, just kind of the material and the shape of it. It tends to rub on my Achilles and cause a lot of irritation. And that's even with no matter how I lace it or what socks I wear. So unfortunately this one will not be what's on my feet. So next up is the Rocket X from Hoka. So if you see my full review on the shoe, you know that I do really like the shoe. It has a nice soft cushioning. You get a bottom loaded plate in there. You get a really comfortable upper. And it's decently stable, not a super wide base, but the number one thing that I wanted from the shoe was just more cushion. And that is weird to say about a Hoka, but honestly with the Carbon X I wish that it had a thicker stack, heel and toe, and then it maybe would have been a top contender, but unfortunately I think this shoe is better for half marathon or below. Alright, next up is the Endorphin Pro from Saucony. So this is honestly one of my favorite carbon-plated racers, and I've used it for a couple of 10Ks and even a 15K, and I really like how it has that firmer Power Realm PB foam for those distances, because I tend to be going quicker paces and like something a little more responsive. However, for those marathon distances, those longer races, like I mentioned in my criteria, I want one that softer foams, and this just unfortunately isn't that soft. Otherwise, if it was super soft, it might be a serious contender, but I think I'm just going to keep it for some of those shorter distance races. Next up is the Vaporfly Next% 2 from Nike, and this is a shoe I've actually really been enjoying lately and doing a lot of workouts in. However, this misses one big box that I really want in my marathon racer, and it's that stable element. This shoe is really skinny in the midfoot and the heel, so when I'm doing like a 5K, 10K, maybe even half marathon pace, I'm more up on my toes here, so it has that wider base on the toe, which is nice. But once I'm in that marathon territory and my form starts breaking down at the end of the race, I start landing further back, and this is just not as stable as some of the other options. So unfortunately this won't be my marathon racer. However, for other races, 10K and below, I really love this shoe in general. Alright, now let's talk about the contenders that I'm really considering for the Boston Marathon. The first one is the RC Elite V2 from New Balance. So this shoe definitely checks all those boxes. It has a wider, more stable platform for the end of the race, has the super soft and cushioned bouncy midsole, a good plate in there to balance out the ride, and just secure and comfortable upper. It's been another one of my favorite carbon plated racers that I've been using a lot lately, and I even raced a half marathon in it, and I thought it worked great at that distance as well. Alright, so the other contender is Nike's Alphafly Next Percent. So the combination of that thick ZoomX foam, the air pods, and that plate in there give this shoe a really nice mix of responsive pop, but also cushioned kind of bounciness, especially in the heel. And it does have a lot wider base in here compared to the Vaporfly, so that makes it something that I would prefer for the marathon distance. And I've actually had the shoe for a while. I got it like pretty much right when it came out, but I felt like I hadn't had any really good uses for it, so I hadn't really started using it until this marathon training season, where I found that I actually really liked this shoe and that it's kind of hard to go slow in it, so that's definitely a good quality for a shoe that you're considering for race day. So with Boston just a couple of days away, I have to make the decision and choose between the RC Elite V2 and Nike's Alphafly Next Percent. And it's a really tough choice. I've been doing workouts in both of these lately and really enjoying both. But I think just that unique ride and that feel of the Alphafly makes it the winner for me. So this will be on my feet this weekend while I race the Boston Marathon. I'm thinking about making a separate toe-to-toe shoe showdown video where these two go head-to-head, and I can kind of dive more into specifics about what I like and dislike about each. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, definitely let me know what shoes you're racing in for your marathon this fall, or if there's a carbon-plated marathon racer that I haven't tried yet that you think I would really like, feel free to let me know down there as well. So good luck with all your races out there. It's an exciting time. Marathon season is one of my favorite times of the year. Subscribe so you don't miss any of my reviews or upcoming videos, and as always, keep on running.